that's why I'm very interested in talking to you, Bob, because your LGBTIQA plus political activists came out in much greater numbers than in Australia. They were very well organised, and it was a show of overwhelming violence against any dissent of their narrative. Where does the debate go from here? How do you have this discussion in a country like New Zealand again? Are people just going to be too scared to even go there now?
Well, I think two things. The media certainly advertised the protest. And in fact, in the New Zealand Herald on the morning, they had one of the key activists who wrote a column imploring people to be there. So in effect, you had the mainstream media promoting a counter-protest to Posey Parker. They never... the interesting thing was, actually, last week I was at a conference in the United States with social conservatives, and so I was monitoring a lot of the media coverage away from New Zealand, and every article I read, I tried to find out a bit more about Posey Parker. What does she believe? What's she speaking? What is she sharing? Sure, I saw the coverage from Australia where the Nazis had come in, but as we all know, when you have a public gathering, you'll always get the fringe groups. The problem is the media uses that to change the narrative, to increase the narrative, the negative narrative. So we never got the chance to actually hear what Posey Parker had to say. And yeah, look, in response to your question of where to from here, look, we can't stop speaking up about these issues for the protection of children. The interesting thing, Lyle, is that while I was in the States, I actually got the chance to meet in person and interview Chloe Cole, who's the 18-year-old who went on puberty blockers at 13 and had a mastectomy at 15, and now is suing Kaiser Pimenta in California for the botched operation and regrets, she's detransitioned, regrets her whole transgender journey. Very powerful speaker. But we never got the opportunity to hear some of those concerns via Posey Parker's message, her concerns about women's rights. I mean, it is an incredible thing to think about, Lyle, in terms of a country that's given women the vote, the first in the world to give women the vote, and yet we shut down a public talk on a person talking about women's rights. It's quite stunning, and that's why I say, rather than a negative reaction, I think it's been the wake-up call that you and I have been asking for a long time, and you can see that just in the response. I mean, I've noticed even just in some of my blogs that I do, the viewership has just exploded because I think people have finally thought to themselves, so this is what they're going on about. Yeah, we're not having a proper debate here. So I think actually it may have been a good thing what happened on Saturday, as horrific as it was and as traumatic as it was for those who attended.
Yeah, that's fascinating that you say that, and I guess that's the sort of insight I was looking for in talking to you today, and that's encouraging because to see a country like New Zealand on the global media for these reasons, and to see this debate being drowned out is very distressing. You mentioned to me off-air that you've got another detransitioner, less well-known than Chloe Cole, but certainly a pioneer in this area, Walt Heyer, who you and I have both had the privilege of meeting. Now, Walt's coming to New Zealand. How are you going to conduct a speaking tour of someone like him? This is a man who lived for many years as a woman and then realised that it was harmful and went back to his natal gender. How are you going to have a speaking tour for Walt? And of course, he's one of the most gentle people that you've ever met.
No, you just carry on as normal. I think that what the activists want to do is, well, their first strategy has always been to label you and to call you a phobic of some sort. And that has always been designed not because you deserve that label, it's been designed to shut you up because a lot of us don't like being called those terms. And it's done a pretty good job. But now they've moved past that, and it's this physical and fear intimidation. We've got to look it in the face and just say, well, too bad, we're having this discussion whether you like it or not. So I think we've, unfortunately, social conservatives are not only social conservatives, they're conservative by nature, and they don't like this type of stuff. But we're getting to the point in the cultural war where there is no man's land. We have to take sides. And you know, we need to be a bit braver. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, time to join them.